Paramount Plus is becoming an up-and-coming streaming service with something for everyone. One such series, starring Sylvester Stallone, is called Tulsa King. Stallone is 76 years old, but has not slowed down. While many of the action stars he came up with have long since fallen out of the public eye, Stallone not only made his television debut with Tulsa King, but he also starred in a recent film called Samaritan, a superhero movie. Tulsa King is a drama following mafia members and other paroled members of the crime world attempting to make a life change. Many fans have compared this series to the series done by the same creator, Yellowstone, a terribly underrated Western series. If you loved this show, or love the premise, keep watching to hear our recommendations for similar series. The first recommendation we have is an HBO Max series called Jet. For fans of Carla Gugino, an incredible character actor who can be seen in The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix, Watchmen, and Gerald's Game, and does a great job in portraying Daisy Kowalski. Daisy is a notorious thief who is hounded after her release from prison by several crime organizations, all of which want to work with her. Daisy is portrayed as a hardened criminal with no desire whatsoever to change her ways. Like Stallone's Dwight, Daisy is exceedingly stubborn, and the show's vibe is quite similar to Tulsa King. Also, similarly to Stallone's show, Jet is packed with action. The camera work is inventive, and the acting talents are top-notch. Surely, if you love crime dramas, especially those focused on the actual criminals, this is a no-brainer to be added to your to-watch list. Created, written, and directed by Sebastian Gutierrez, this show is short, but will surely tickle your fancy if you're a fan of this type of story. The next entry on our list features a power struggle between two generations of mob bosses. The Last Dawn is featured on Paramount Plus and is sure to hit all of the familiar beats you would find in Tulsa King. The older man contending for power is called Don Domenico Claricuzio, hence the title of the series, and finds himself at war with a group of younger men vying for power. Don's character is very similar to Stallone's Dwight in Tulsa King, making this a perfect series to satisfy fans of Tulsa King. The Last Dawn is not just a television series, it's also based on a novel written by Mario Puzo, who also wrote the novel The Godfather, which is, of course, the inspiration for the film series of the same name. This time, Puzo explores the connection between the Las Vegas Strip, the American Mafia, and the film industry. The story focuses mainly on Don, his advanced age, and his desire for his family to become a part of mainstream society, rather than an underground mafia family. His grandson and uncle are not so keen on this idea. However, they are unwilling to give up the power that comes with being a part of Don's family, and enact their own plans to ensure their continuing pursuit of power. Mario Puzo proves himself again as a very talented storyteller, and the series does the novel justice in a way that is rarely seen in adaptations of books. You didn't think we wouldn't talk about The Sopranos, did you? Streaming now on HBO Max, this incredibly successful and popular series originally ran from 1999 to 2017, and remains one of the most popular series of all time. If you are unfamiliar, the series follows Tony Soprano, the mob boss of New Jersey, and his conflicts with another crime family. While this is the main premise, this series is about so much more. It's about power, family struggles, love, and all facets of living within a family affiliated with the mob. Dwight from Tulsa King would fit right in with this cast of characters. There are a few characters in the classic series The Sopranos who may have even served as an inspiration for Stallone's Dwight. Veach, Phil, and Richie, all antagonists in The Sopranos, have very similar stories to Dwight. This classic series also delves into the power struggle that often occurs in multi-generational families in this type of world. Tony has a very hard time admitting his slow exit from the seat of power and resents his younger family members for trying to take over the family. If you don't have access to HBO, but you do have a Hulu subscription, don't fret. The next series, streaming on Hulu, has the same vibe and type of story as all of the series we have already discussed. A prequel to the incredible movie American Gangster, Godfather of Harlem follows the real-life story of Bumpy Johnson of 1960s Harlem. This series features Forrest Whitaker as Bumpy, and heavily features racial conflicts as he attempts to contend with the Italian crime families in the city. Bumpy's character is also involved with the budding civil rights movement of the 60s. In fact, this masterfully crafted blend of politics, civil rights, and crime makes this series a must-watch for anyone who has seen American Gangster or Tulsa King. If you are at all interested in how an African-American man could build an entire empire out of nothing in the 60s while competing with the much more traditional white crime families in the area, this show is for you. And because this story was based on real events, there are many other actual historical figures featured, including Malcolm X and Lyndon Johnson, president of the time. Our next recommendation is Boardwalk Empire, streaming on HBO Max. This show takes place in the early 1900s and follows Enoch Thompson and his slow descent into the crime world. Thompson is the treasurer of Atlantic City and finds himself involved with lots of unsavory people and begins to change for the worse. This series is packed with drama, action, horror, and high stakes. Directed by the incredible Martin Scorsese, this show will surely delight Tulsa King fans. Scorsese expertly combines real-life people with his fictional story, making sure to feature lots of real-life gangsters to satisfy fans. Enoch Thompson goes through the ringer, but like Dwight of Tulsa King, he ultimately reaches his goal of rising to the highest position of power in Atlantic City. Fans of classic gangster stories will be thrilled to see characters based on the likes of Lucky Luciano, Mayor Lansky, and Al Capone. If you're a fan of Tulsa King, this show is an underrated treasure. Next, we have a recommendation for fans of Irish mobster stories in particular. The Black Donnellys takes place in Hell's Kitchen and follows a group of Roman Catholic Irish brothers. Originally featured on NBC, this show can be watched on the Roku channel. Because the main cast of characters are Irish Americans, this series features themes of Irish American history, mainly the tension that was once very strong between Irish Americans and Italian Americans. This show sets itself apart in another very important way. It features an unreliable narrator. While this concept is common in written works, many television series and movies do not explore this option. The narrator, Joey Ice Cream, is a childhood friend of the quartet. An unreliable narrator is useful for this type of story. Viewers can never be sure that what they are seeing is real, at least when Joey's voice is the one telling the story. Fans of crime dramas, and just regular drama, are sure to find this show fascinating. Have you ever seen a show or read a book with an unreliable narrator? This underutilized device can be very effective in shocking audiences when they realize that what they thought was true was simply a fantasy or a lie. Our next recommendation is also an international one, and this time the setting is in England. Gangs of London is available to watch on AMC Plus and follows a powerful crime family. The story is kicked off when London's most powerful mobster is killed, opening up a position of power for rival families and corrupt authority figures. Fans of Tulsa King will find this series quite interesting due to the plethora of well-written side characters and attention to detail. There are also many characters in this series that are quite similar to Dwight from Tulsa King. Having premiered in 2020, this series takes place in the present day, which can be unusual for mobster stories. Many of them focus on New York City in the 60s to 90s. During the show, Finn Wallace, played by Colm Meaney, is killed after 20 years of heading the most influential organized crime family. His son attempts to replace him as the new leader of their family, but he is constantly at odds with rivals trying to take advantage of the situation. Fans of Tulsa King who are also interested in international politics will be sure to love this show. Next up, we will be discussing Magic City, a crime drama taking place in 1950s Miami, Florida. The main location in the show is the Miramar Playa Hotel, the central location where Fidel Castro's players concoct schemes. This show, similarly to Tulsa King, puts a huge emphasis on the fashion choices of the gangsters. This may seem inconsequential, but historically, it is quite accurate to see very flashy outfits on powerful people, especially in the 50s. Fans of different eras of style will be delighted with the costuming choices on this show. This series also features a very popular character actor, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, as the lead. Finally, our last recommendation is the Netflix series Vincenzo. This series features an Italian family who adopted an Asian child and his slow ascent to power as the head of the family. He is then forced to flee back to his home country of South Korea after an assassination attempt. This sort of conflict is similar to the initial conflict in Stallone's Tulsa King. Both leads find themselves in unfamiliar and unwelcome locations as a result of their choice of lifestyle and follow them trying to overcome these circumstances. Fans of shows that feature international conflict or organized crime should absolutely check this series out. Have you seen any of these shows? Which of them do you think is the most closely related to Tulsa King? Are there any that we missed on our list? We would love to hear your thoughts about these series down below. And please do not forget to like and subscribe to our channel. See you all in the next video.